Hello, winners, and welcome to Two for the Win with your hosts, Nick and Wil. So, what another crazy weekend of college and NFL football. We have a lot to get into, but before we do, please be sure to share, subscribe, and follow Two for the Win on your favorite platform. And want to give a shout out to today's sponsor, Hard Rock Bet. You can find that in the description if you don't have a Hard Rock Bet account on any of our major platform descriptions. Happy Friday, sir.
Happy Friday, Wil. Hello, winners.
Hello. My goodness. So, we went to the Packers-Cowboys game in person. Stadium is amazing, is a tie. And we'll talk a lot about that in a little bit because I'm sure some of our winners know that we went to that and probably want to hear from us. But let's start with the college football. Some crazy games, and happy to start with whichever one that you wanted to do a quick recap on first.
No, whatever. I think I like Ole Miss a lot, and that was the game that I was the most excited to watch outside the two-night game, of course, who were the two main one, and didn't disappoint. They beat LSU, and I think that's Lincoln Riley's year.
Yeah. I was. You mean
Kiffin.
Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, Lane
Lane
Kiffin.
Kiffin's
What
year.
did you say?
Yeah, I have to hand it to Ole Miss. They really kind of dominated the game. I think at least in terms of yardage, and I think Ole Miss showed something that has been inconsistent with them with some of the big games. So the SEC is just a bloodbath, though. I mean, we'll see if anyone can come out of that unscathed. But I thought Ole Miss's win was impressive. I thought that 2 overtime thriller with Florida State and Virginia was something else, and they went down. We'll talk about Florida State here in a bit. I thought Washington had a chance, and then Ohio State just eventually the talent went out. But I think that Oregon-Penn State game, how much have we always talked about do not trust Penn State in big games under Franklin? They are now 4-21 against top 25 teams under Franklin. Even the whiteout couldn't save them. But thoughts on that game?
Yeah, I mean, we are consistent in the two for the win. I have the numbers here. So the 421 is actually against top 10.
Top 10.
The
sorry.
425, they're still very average. So I have it here. So 421 against top 10, 115 against top 5, 1530 against top 25, and 417 against Michigan and Ohio State under James Franklin. I'm not a Penn State fan, but if I was, I would go in the street trying to get him fired. And I don't want to hear, well, he did well for the program. If you want to be average, perfect, then state it. But I don't want to hear every beginning of the year, Penn State, because we know they will underachieve. And I know I was, on social media and back and forth with some Penn State fan, and they said, well, you cannot call us average when we are top 5 every year. If it's what you want and make one time a semifinal, like a Final Four one time the last 10 years, people talk about Texas Longhorns being the same. Texas Longhorns, we are back-to-back in the Final Four. It's very, very different to me. And we play the SEC now. So that's why I'm like, I'm completely over Franklin. I will never pick them to beat. I will pick them 100% of the time to beat like Indiana State and all that. Then they will beat them. But if they play a competitive team, they will lose.
Yeah. I think neither of us were surprised by the outcome of that game. Although hats off to Oregon, they still had to go into Penn State and play the way they did, and they played extremely well. And I think, that was a thriller as well, going to overtime, although I think Oregon kind of let Penn State off the hook late in the fourth. But the team that disappointed me a bit was Georgia. I know you're a fan of Alabama's coach, and you felt that the first week was an anomaly, and so far I'd have to say you're right. I thought he'd be on the hot seat. I think he was on the hot seat, but he's gotten himself off it. But for Georgia to lose at home, and really, I don't know, Alabama never felt threatened. You know what I mean? It was one of those games. I just thought Georgia would bring more to it, but they didn't. But your thoughts on that game?
My thought is that Georgia didn't lose the game. Alabama won the game. And I know it's always like hard to tell. But for me, from the get-go, Alabama took them by the throat and never let them go. I think it's super impressive. We cannot blame Georgia, who is 9 year in defeat at home, to lose one game and blame them. It's literally Alabama. We know that Kirby Smart lost 20 games in his tenure in Georgia now, and 7 of them are against Alabama. He's won 7. So 8 game, and he won only 1 against Alabama. I know you mentioned it's because of Coach Saban, but last year again, the Boer got the team. He got signed, and he got a team depelled with bunch of players leaving the organization after Saban left, which makes sense. So he had to repuzzle. Now he went in the portal. He get player, but it's the first year that he's coaching those teams, those kids. It takes time, and he proved it in 2 different, a team before that he was outstanding coach. So I think we need to give him a little bit of time. So that's my take on that. But the big take for me is LSU. I know lots of LSU fan, and they cannot stand Brian Kelly. And I said last week about Dabo Sweeney. He's on a hot seat in Clemson. I don't think he's on a hot seat because he won twice. I think if he leaves, it's because he wants to. But I do believe that for both sides, it would be good, like you mentioned as well, to have a break in Clemson. And I think that Dabo in the South at LSU would be a complete hit. I know you're more for Florida, but I think for LSU, that's totally his style. And I would see him completely like making great job, doing a great job at LSU. But that's only going to happen if Brian Kelly doesn't make the playoffs. I think the 12 team playoffs.
Yeah, which is hard to fathom because LSU is very talented and their running back was out, but you never know. This college football season, has been crazy. A lot of close games last week. Tennessee eked one out over Mississippi State. Georgia Tech over Wake Forest. Wake Forest went for the win with the 2-point conversion. Didn't work. Illinois with a big win over USC. That was a really good game.
That was really
one.
good.
That was coming down to the wire. But where I thought we could wrap with a bit before we move on to next week, Notre Dame, Arkansas. We were watching that game. Arkansas played so poorly, their coach got fired after the game. But any thoughts? Because I know you've been harsh about Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
So is that a game where you think Arkansas was just completely mismanaged, or do you think that signs Notre Dame might be improving the rest of the year?
I think that's a loss of Arkansas more than a win of that. I think that team wise they're already like undermatched, but then to normally offensively they're outstanding. They could not get nothing down. I saw in first quarter a lot of players like hands down. So there was literally no trust at all, no belief that they could win. And we know in competitive sport, if your mindset is down, even if you have some kind of talent, you cannot bring that up. And then Notre Dame, where they're good at is when they take the lead and they just can run their game, then they will, everything will amplify. And I think that's what happened this time. I'm not gonna put too much credit on Notre Dame on this one. It's more Arkansas, who lost last week as well, 2 weeks before. Also, like after leading by 18 or so in the third, and they lost the game again. So it's like a trend to just
their defense is a C, but love for Notre Dame looks like the real deal.
Oh yeah, love is fantastic. Yeah,
explosive. All right, let's jump into the upcoming games. There's only 2 ranked matchups. Let's start with Vanderbilt, who is undefeated, probably the big surprise of the SEC. Ranked 16, traveling to Alabama, who we just spoke about, 3-1. Alabama playing at home. Right now, Alabama is favored by 10.5. So I would assume you're going to think Alabama's going to win. What I'm more interested in, do you think they cover?
No, I don't think they will cover. I think they win by a touchdown or something like that. Yeah. I think Vanderbilt are very, very good. It's probably the second surprise in the SEC for me. The first is Mississippi, who are also undefeated. Not Ole Miss, but Mississippi State. Mm-hmm. That's pretty sick. And they, like we just mentioned, they beat Tennessee. So that's a big, big jump. So, but yeah, Vanderbilt, unexpected. But last year they played really well the first part of the year as well. They're like one loss the first 8 games or so. So I think that it's going the right direction for them. But I think no, Alabama was very impressive after the game one. I remember game two, they won by 68 points, 68-0 or something against nobody, but you still need to put the points on the board.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second game, very impressive again. Then the third game, now going to win at Georgia. Woo, woo, woo. And so no, having Vanderbilt at home, I think they win, but I put some respect on Vanderbilt, so I think they will hold on, and then the fourth Alabama will win. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying not to let my bias, because Vanderbilt isn't known as a powerhouse football team. Alabama did look really good against Georgia. They are playing at home. I think if Vanderbilt had like 2 losses, this would actually be a upset pick kind of game for me. That Vanderbilt would come in. Vanderbilt being undefeated, DeBoer is not going to have them looking past Vanderbilt. Like maybe the otherwise. So I'll actually take Alabama to cover, and it's not really a slight against Vanderbilt. It's more about I think Alabama. They look like old Alabama. I got to give credit where credit's due. Still full season. We'll see how they finish. But
this whole line guy, like the 400 pounds old guy, like running.
I know. It's just, they look like old Alabama there. So I'll give them the props. All right. Then we have the U. Miami travels to Florida State. Number 3, Miami, undefeated. First ACC game. Florida State 3-1. Obviously, we just talked about how they lost to Virginia in overtime. Miami favored by 4.5. So there is some respect being given to Florida State. And when these two teams play, historically, there's always like a crazy thing come down to a kicker, miss kick or something like that. But how do you see this game?
In-state rivalry, it's always hard, but I wouldn't say never, but I do not trust Florida State at all. So I'm gonna go Miami, and I think they cover. I think Miami is probably the most complete team this year, that what they showed so far. And usually when they collapse about team that we don't expect. Like they collapse against Georgia Tech and things like that. Even though Georgia Tech are undefeated, but they barely won against Wake Forest. So, but they won. So I don't see Miami losing this game. I think they're gonna lose in a couple of weeks. I forgot who they played, but I was circling back in my calendar, saying like that's the game I can see them losing. But I don't think they lose that big in-state rivalry game, being so complete as they are. So I think they cover.
I do too. I think the Canes, when they do fade, it's typically mid to late part of the year. But we'll see. This could be a different year for them. And it's always exciting when Miami's good, especially being in this area. You can tell a vibe. Last thing I want to wrap before we pivot to the NFL. I just noticed Texas A&M ranked 6th. Agree with that ranking or not?
I mean, yeah, they're undefeated. I was surprised last week or 2 weeks ago when they jumped Texas while being by, and Texas winning 50-something-0. I know they play against no one, like Sam Houston, I think. But how can you jump someone while not playing and the team is winning 56-0? That made no sense to me. But hey, there's not a lot of things that make sense. Penn State are ranked in front of Texas. That makes me also laugh right now. Like literally, they just lost at home against Oregon, and Texas lost on the road against the national champion and defeated Ohio State by 7.
Yeah.
And you put Penn State, that wet the bet one more time, in front of Texas. I mean, I don't really care about the ranking this early, but it shows that there's a huge issue still in the committee, the way that they rank teams.
Well, this isn't committee ranking. This is the media ranking.
Yeah, but media. Yeah, usually when they start ranking teams, they are very similar as the AP. So, we'll see.
Yeah, I think that ranking is too high for A. They haven't looked that great. They are undefeated, but a win is a win. Oklahoma at 5. I'm like, I don't know about that one. When you see some of the ones that are right around there. I mean, Alabama beating Georgia, I thought would get more respect. Texas has the one loss. but that's against Ohio State, who's the number one team in the nation and undefeated. Even Georgia dropping so far down the 12 is just like, I don't know, but I agree. It's not too much to get hung up on, but those, I would be shocked if Oklahoma and Texas A&M by the time the year is done are within the top 6.
Oh yeah,
They could be top 12 maybe, but not top 6
no.
on that one. All right. So for those of our winners who are big baseball fans, we are going to talk about our baseball predictions next Fanatic Friday when we have all the matchups set from the wild card and everything. So you can look forward to that. But and one last thing I want to give a shout out to Christie's, and where we went to the sports bar. So if you're in the Dallas area, Nick and I planted ourselves for most of a day. Extremely comfortable seats, great food, and the service was phenomenal. Was really awesome. So check out Christie's Sports Bar. Huge screen, won't be disappointed.
Yeah, that's at Greenville. So also something I never been. I've been multiple time to Dallas, you too, Will, and I never personally been to Greenville. That's the area. I love it. That's literally residential place, and then you have a couple of section of the road that is all with restaurants, bars, sports bar, and things like that. It's fantastic. I can see myself if I was living in Dallas area. That's definitely where I would like to live.
Yeah.
Between the residential place and then walking distance to all those bar restaurants, and very nice atmosphere, packed of people, but really positive atmosphere. And so if you're in Dallas area, I'm pretty sure you know about it. But if you are going on a trip, I would strongly suggest to check Greenville Avenue.
Yeah, really enjoyed it. And then on Sunday, we went to Texas Live, which was mixed in terms of the experience, I'll say that, but a massive screen, massive people, and some crazy games. We could probably leave do you want to start with the Packers Cowboys or leave that for last?
Leave that for last.
Okay, yeah. All right. So where do you want to start first?
Well,
was that the doubling game? You want to start there with the Vikings Steelers?
Oh yeah. So in the morning we had the game in Dublin, and Will, congratulations. He had both upset pick correct. We're gonna come back at the end of the episode about it, but pretty great job. And he had the Steelers beating the Vikings, and it happened. Well, again, like Pittsburgh start very strong. I thought that they took control of the game very, very early. But Minnesota came back very, very close. Unfortunately, the whole demon of Wentz came back, and they start holding the ball too long and not knowing what to do, and then throwing in the end of the opposing team. So that's what happened. But I thought that the second half was really good. It was like back and forth, and anything could have happened. But Pittsburgh, good win.
Yeah, one of the takeaways I had from last week is tenured coaches who continue to mismanage games. Like, it's shocking to me. I thought Tomlin mismanaged that Steelers game and gave the Vikings a window of opportunity that he could have made it less stressful. I think the other one was LaFleur. And it's one thing if you're a first-year coach or second-year coach, I give them some leeway because they're just getting their bearings. But for somebody like LaFleur, who mismanaged the clock, we'll talk about that. And then how Tomlin, and they're not the only ones. There's other coaches like that, but it's just appalling to me with all the stuff that they're doing for analytics now. And I'm not saying analytics should always be the Bible in terms of what you do or what you don't do, but they're just basic mismanagement of the clock, situational mismanagement. I don't know. It floored me. I thought the Steelers should have won that game way more comfortably than they did, but kudos to the Vikings for not quitting. I do think on the flip side of that, the Vikings have a hell of a coach. I think that guy is probably, I don't know. I'll say top 5, but I could maybe top 7. But he's up there. He's up there. He's really good. We talked about the Falcons being the bipolar team of the NFL. No offense to anybody who has that condition, but you never know what you're going to get. They took out the Commanders after getting blanked the week before 30-0 by the Panthers, who got smoked by New England last week. I don't know. Any thoughts on any of those teams?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy. Like you said, we never know week by week what's gonna which team are going to show up for Atlanta. I'm still dumbfounded about the fact that Bijan Robinson is getting so little amount of reps. I still dumbfounded. I don't care if no. I read it was at 78%. It's still way too low. 95% minimum. This guy's a machine. He has a physique like no others. He has a stamina. He has like 3 lungs. He's known to take care of his body. I just don't understand how Algier is playing so much. I just don't get it. And even at the end of the game, when the other team came, when Commanders came back, and then they put Algier on a 3rd and 4 situation on the goal line. I'm like, what are you doing? And then of course they lost a yard on that thing. You have Bijan. Bijan never lose a yard. Like it's gonna, even if he falls flat on his face, he gained 2 yards. It makes absolutely no sense. And I think the big problem, Atlanta, if Atlanta have the coach of Minnesota, oh my God, they are Super Bowl contender.
Yeah.
Like it's
they have the talent.
It's crazy. And so I'm really I cannot get over Atlanta, but they won, so I was happy because it was one of my upset pick. But yeah, so I just think that the big game other than Dallas that we saw, that we experienced, the 2 big game were Rams against Indianapolis. Of course, when Indianapolis confirmed that they are not a fluke, they literally hang with them until the end. Kudos to, of course, the quarterback of the Rams, Stafford, for sticking with it and giving that ball to Atwell at the end, like for that long catch and touchdown. And then, of course, Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens losing big against Kansas City. Ravens are in trouble. I don't want to hear it's because Lamar Jackson was hurt, because it happens before he got hurt.
They were down big before he got hurt.
Yeah, but again, that's the narrative that we heard since then. Oh yes, but he's hurt now. What's going to happen with Baltimore? Well, Baltimore with Jackson, they are 1-3. Is that or something like that? So it says a lot. And again, kudos to Kansas City. I mean, we also were not very high on them this year, and jury is still hot. But Pat Mahomes is something different, and when he has a weapon like UT, number one. Oh my God, forgot his name now. Anyway, Worthy. Worthy is in, it's totally different. So when Rice comes back, it's gonna be interesting. But yeah, big trouble in Baltimore for sure.
Yeah. Just to quickly circle back on the Falcons, Bijan 2 weeks ago averaged 5 yards a carry. This past week, 4.5 yards per carry, only 17 carries. I mean, it's atrocious. They don't use him more. I thought the Colts game, I agree. They showed they belong. That wide receiver who had that crazy fumble right when he was about to cross the goal line cost them the game. I mean, that's a touchdown. And these guys, they're so trying to get their little 2 seconds of fame on their little thing they do for the camera. I mean, that was ridiculous. That game, the Colts threw it away because of the bonehead play by a player. Ravens, I agree with you. Nothing to really add there. I think it shows that they have some significant issues. Chiefs did what they needed to at home. I think a team that we both thought would be good, and they kind of showed it. The Jaguars gave the 49ers the first loss, beating them in San Francisco 26-21. Not love, but I thought it was interesting. The head coach and the Robert Saleh, who is, the defensive coordinator for the 49ers, almost had a fist fight at midfield. So, I like when there's a little saltiness, the competitiveness, and not everybody like in the NBA where everyone's buddy on everything. It's like, no, sometimes let's throw it down. But one game we didn't talk about, let's talk about real quick before we get into Packers, Cowboys, Eagles, Buccaneers, because I think that game was a big game. We were watching that one a lot in the early slate. I thought the Buccaneers gave it away, but what was your thought?
Yeah, I mean, Eagles were running with it in beginning. We thought, I remember you saying like that's gonna be a blowout, and then after that, it started again. The heart of I was never a fan of him because of Oklahoma Sooners and stuff, but the heart of Mayfield. I mean, I remember this third and 5 kind of play where he just scramble and he got hole in his leg, in his ankle, in his arm, and he just forced through it to get the first down. And that gives motivation to the whole team. You could feel the whole stadium lift up and the team ran, around or Mayfield. That's the kind of play that change a lot. And then they start getting back, interception, and start getting like better and better. But yeah, I mean, at the end, I thought they're gonna come back and win. And it was my second upset pick, so I was like,
Yeah.
But didn't happen. But that beautiful, really good game to watch. And again, they play without Evans. They had a couple of injuries, so that's very impressive. And the two throw of Mayfield for Ekbaba, I forgot his name, but
Amike and Buka.
Ekbuka, and the other one for Goodwin. That was phenomenal.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I think it's easy to point at Baker's interception as what cost the Buccaneers. I really say it came down to special teams again because they had that punt block that the Eagles took for a touchdown. You can't. I mean, special teams have cost a lot of teams games this year. So let's wrap up before we go into our upset pick with the game that we saw at AT&T Stadium live, which I must say, beautiful stadium. That screen is impressive to see it in person. And the roof was open, which was cool. It's beautiful. We got the breeze coming in and everything. But a 40-40 tie. So I'll let you have the floor.
This should never been a tie. A game like that needs a winner. But wow, I mean, Packers start strong. I remember first down, Dak he give ball 2 times for a running back and no gain pretty much. Then a little pass for 2 yards and then we kick. I'm like, here we go. And then of course the first down, the first series of the Packers touchdown. Dobbs. It was like, oh my God. Then second down, same thing. Like we cannot get a first down, but Green Bay go and score touchdown, 13-zip. Then the field goal, then the extra point. So I'm saying sorry. Then of course you're gonna talk about your specialty. I will let you that. But the block return for touchdown, 2 points, 13-2. Yeah. And then we saw Dak clicking, and then I don't know. It was a ping pong ball. We were like this, dung, dung, dung. It's a football game, but we were like, what's happening? What's happening? Like, and it was all over the place. Great plays, Pickens, of course, Dobbs on your side, and then of course that huge catch of Turpin when Dak scrambled and threw the ball on the 50-yard line with no looking pretty much, and then Dobbs, Turpin can catch it on the side. I mean, there was everything on this game. It was like, a return extra point for field goal, for touchdown, which never happens. You have, of course, block field goal, then we can talk like that. There is Parsons with the sack on Dak when he was literally running into the end zone to win the game. A couple of penalties that were very doubtful for the Cowboys in the first half and at the end in the fourth quarter. But then you at the end was also one who could have gone either way. So the ref had a part in this as well. It was literally non-stop back and forth. Big heart from my Cowboys. I didn't expect that from them. Without CD, even more. But we hang up in there, and it was literally an epic game to watch live. So very, very pleased to have experienced that with you, brother. But
yeah,
your take.
Yeah, it was an amazing game. The first time that there were 9 consecutive scores between field goals and touchdowns between two teams. First tie for Dallas since 1969, which I had no idea they went that long. Packers' last one, I think, was with the Vikings in 2013, 29-29. Second highest tie ever in terms of scoring at 40-40. I think for me, I felt relief with the tie because I really felt the Packers mismanaged that game to the point where they should have lost. I think the clock management at the end is ridiculous. They had 40 seconds at the 15-yard line, only one throw into the end zone, and it almost came where the clock ran out. So thank goodness that ball hit with 1 second left in the end zone incomplete, or we would have lost. But how do you mismanage? You had one timeout in 40 seconds, and you only get one throw into the end zone. That's significant mismanagement by LaFleur. I know why he was calling a little conservative, because Love, as great as a game as he played, does make bonehead mistakes. And so he probably was trying to make sure he didn't have a bonehead mistake. But you can't play scared in the NFL. You have to play to win. I think they, and then when they try to go aggressive at the end of the first half, their blocking was so poor that ball got knocked out of Love's hands and Dallas recovered, and that was the play of the game for Dallas. That and that blocked extra point, again, special teams. But I got to give a hats off to McManus. Hits the game tying field goal at the end of regulation with no time left. Hits the game tying field goal at the end of overtime with no time left. Clutch kicks, but the special teams unit, and then on the one where Dallas was able to take the lead at the end in their last drive of the fourth quarter, they had a return almost to the 50-yard line. We pay Rich Bisaglia. I'm going on a campaign now on this. We pay this man. He is the highest paid special teams coordinator. He is the assistant head coach. He is in charge of clock management. He's the one who's supposed to be like, okay, based on this, do this to LaFleur. And the special teams are atrocious. Like, get rid of the guy. I mean, you can't do worse. We lost to Cleveland because of special teams, and we should have lost to Dallas. Hats off to Dallas. They played with heart. That stadium was amazing. Hats off to the Green Bay offense. They could have flinched any number of times. That fourth down conversion, 4th and 7, was clutch. But I'm happy we have a tie, because I didn't think we deserved to win. And the Packers have a bye week. They need it. They need to get their head straight on how they're going to play these games and stop playing scared and don't be uber aggressive. I mean, they had, when they ran that first that play where Love fumbled, there's 20 seconds left, 19 seconds, and they were at the 25-yard line. Like, what are you doing? You had no timeouts. You're not going to score. Take a knee. Just take a knee, go into halftime. I mean, that completely changed the complexity of the game. So, not happy with the pack, but very grateful with the tie. All right. Let's go to upset picks.
So Will won 2-1 last weekend.
Good comeback.
So at the stand 4-3 for Will after 4 weeks. So we are close to each other, but you win. And since you won, you can start with the first upset picks of the weekend.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Buccaneers on the road against the Seahawks. The Seahawks are favored at the time of this recording by 3.5. Seahawks defense is legit. I would take the under on this game right now. The total is 44.5. I would take the under. But the Buccaneers, I think they can go on the road and win in Seattle. How about you?
Okay, my first pick is the Giants, who came back from a very, very impressive win against the Charger. We didn't talk about this first game of darts, and I know Neighbors is out now for the season. But I do believe that the Giants have the team to beat the Saints over there. So I will take that as my first pick. My second pick, it's a big gamble, but that's what's fun, right? So I will go with my favorite team, the Eagles, to lose at home against Broncos. The Broncos need this game, and they play the Eagles. My only concern is that the Eagles won already 3 of the 4 games that they should have lost, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you always think that they're going to fix the issue and come back. But I think the Broncos have a fantastic team that can beat anyone at any given time. And I will take this time to pick them to beat Eagles. That's my pick number 2.
Yeah, I like it. I am going to go on a really wonky one. And this isn't... The Bills, after smoking the Ravens, have looked okay. They have not looked like the team that smoked the Ravens. The Patriots, another bipolar team, but they're young. You're starting to see Drake May really come into his own. They're on the road in Buffalo. It's a Sunday night game. Sunday night games are like Thursday night games. There's some weirdness that goes on. Wow. Buffalo's favored by 7.5.
I give
I
kudos.
think this is a statement game for Vrabel. I think the Patriots go in and sneak out a win by like a field goal or less. They're not going to run away from the Bills, but I'll take the Patriots as my massive upset pick of the year so far.
Wow. Kudos to my co-host to go big time now.
Well, a lot of these games, yeah, I don't see a lot of hope for the underdogs, to be honest. So, I was big on the Patriots pre-season, so I will stick with them until they give me a reason not to. But that'll do it, folks. Thanks for staying on a little extra, but I hope you enjoyed our chat. As always, please share, subscribe, and follow Two for the Win on your favorite platform. And please check out Hard Rock Bet and set up an account if you don't have one with them. You can find them in the description. That'll do it this Friday. Enjoy the games, folks.
Bye, winners.
Bye.